This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, miniatures, and paints, discount prices at miniaturemarket.com. Welcome to a Painting Impossible episode. Now, I've done these for Board Game Geek, and this one is actually going to go back and forth. But I have a very, very good friend, and I think a lot of you know him as the Gameboy Geek. That's right, Dan King himself. He was with me at Gen Con this year, and unfortunately, he decided to go have a miniature imaged of himself. Well, he finally got it in late November, beginning of December, and he looked at it, and then decided to send it to me and asked, Rob, can you do anything with this? We're going to see what we can do with this miniature. Now, this is going to be a couple parts because of the intricacy of what we have to do here. And I'm going to show you, and you're going to learn a lot of things about mold lines and a lot of other things like that. So without further ado, let's go down to the table and take a look at, well, an actual miniature of Dan. Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that this is open and that you guys don't get Dan's address. That would be bad. We're going to take this out, and I really want to show you what's going on here. And this is what they paid an amount of money for. And I mean, look at that. How the hell are we supposed to fix that? This should not all be here. This molding is ridiculous. And how are we supposed to chip away? And then on top of it, there's no base. Now, this is Dan King, as you know, our good friend. And this is Kat. You may have seen her on Board Game, I'm not Board Game Geek, on the Dice Tower. She does a segment on, oh goodness me, I think it's on Board Game Breakfast, if I'm not 100% sure. Now, we really got a tough, project here. I mean, we have to try to clean this up. We're going to have to make our own base because, they paid good money for this. And look at these mold lines. I mean, it looks like construction here. Not only that, I mean, just to go a little further, I mean, look, it all goes in the back. I mean, this is not how it's supposed to be. And they don't even have a base on him. I'm hoping that you guys are able to see that his feet are underneath here. So the first thing that I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to cut this apart. All right? Because we want to kind of keep Kat by herself for a little bit. All right? And I told Dan that we would film this. And the reason I'm filming it is because this was at Gen Con, and it was in, all right, I think, oh boy, I mean, this is very brittle stuff. So cleaning this up is going to be quite the undertaking. Now, how many of you that went to Gen Con saw this booth right near where, all right, so here's Kat before I go any further. Wow, this is not going to be easy because, boy, you got to be careful because there's going to be a lot of filing involved. And that's what really has me worried is, am I going to lose some of the detail that we're trying to get? Here's her beautiful hair. I mean, she really has nice hair. And then she has that red streak, if you guys remember who Kat is. So we're going to try to reenact that. But, boy, I think we could get a little better detail on that. All right, so we're going to put that. We're going to concentrate on Dan. And you got to be careful here, and I actually have to put down my glasses because this is so close to the vest here that you got to be careful. You don't want to cut the actual miniature because if you cut the actual miniature itself, you're done. So we're going to try to clean this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue. How many of you went where Lucas Oil Stadium, if you went underneath the parking lot, saw this where you can make your own miniature? And how many of you got them back looking like this? That's what I want to know. So please put it in the comments because, boy, I'm not going to suggest this, but boy, this is really, really something else. I mean, look at that. You think they at least clean it up and put it on a base and say, hey, here you go. You painted, you're on your own. But we're going to try to clean it up, and we're going to try to paint it, and we're going to try to make sure that we get Dan. Yeah, look at that. Look at that mold line right under his chin. Just really, really poor. I don't know if you guys can see that. Underneath his chin here, there's actually like drip plastic. So I don't want to lose his chin here. So we're going to have to clean this up because, you know, this was really important to Dan. And it's really disappointing that this came this way. And I'm going to try my best to clean it up. So I'm gonna come back periodically, and we're going to try to get this cleaned up. All right, after about a good 20 minutes, because you don't want to make a wrong cut, we were able to make a breakthrough and kind of got, as you can see, he has a sword here. I mean, we're trying to figure this out as you go because this is clear plastic. And again, every cut has to be precise. I mean, I've never seen anything this bad in my life. Now I'm just trying to get them off. And I'm just amazed at the poor quality. If anybody has gotten these, please let me know. I just don't think you should be, if this is a bad version of it or maybe a misprint or something, because honestly, you shouldn't give this to somebody, especially somebody that might be a novice, and say, hey, guess what? We can do this for you. Well, it doesn't look like you can. And wow, there's just a lot of cuts here. I'm trying to get as close as I can because you don't want to file away the detail. And I got my spectacles on, and they're helping a lot, thank goodness. There's a little, oh, wow. Okay, I got it. Wow. Whew. All right, Dan, we're still doing good here. All right, so I'm going to keep cutting at this, and I'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll take a little farther look. Well, I'll tell you, I haven't made this many cuts since high school football. But honestly, this is just, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, I've seen some things that I've molded. I mean, I've molded out of silicone better than this. And I think you guys saw that when we built the Death Star. And boy, oh boy, I mean, this has just been very difficult. There's a couple of things that are that really play a big part in this. And that is the fact that, number one, it's clear. It's a clear plastic. So you don't know if you're cutting detail or not, and you're praying that you're not. And I've been just taking my time, and this has taken me over an hour to get it to this. So, you know, now we just have to kind of file things up a little bit, and even that is kind of difficult because this is a weird type of resin. It actually has a rubbery feel to it. So I really want to get this right and make sure that this figure comes out really good for Dan. You could see there are just tons and tons of cuts that I made to get it off. It doesn't even come with a base, which is kind of, you know, I mean, what the heck? So, you know, you see these guys next year, know that this is, you know, you may want your own figure, but, you know, this is not an easy thing. And some of these cuts, I mean, like right in the fur here, you know, where it's kind of like critical that you really make sure that you get this just perfectly. And I'm still just kind of walking around here, just making sure that I'm making the right choices here. So this comes out perfectly because we're going to paint this for Dan as well. And I want to make sure that we do a nice job because we're even going to base these. I'm going to have to find a base, and I'm sure I can dig up a base somewhere. But we're gonna base it, and we're gonna flock it. We're gonna make it nice. We're gonna make it look like well, we're gonna make it look like Dan. How's that? So I'm gonna just keep chipping away at this, but I think we pretty much got it. We're just gonna have to sand this down. Now we've got to do Cat next, and wow, I mean, even she is very difficult because of now, at least her, the real problem cuts are in this book area. So I really just got to be very focused. This one's a little bit better, but I wanted to do Dan first because I wanted to see how this plastic reacted. And I'm wondering if this will even take some primer. So we're gonna try that out. We're gonna come back in our next episode, and I'll have Kat all cleaned up. We got Dan here, and as you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but that is Dan King, the Gameboy Geek miniature. So I'm gonna get this all cleaned up. We're gonna get this. We've got to make sure that we keep all that detail because he strictly told me that. Make sure that you make sure those abs show. And I said, okay, Dan, I'll make sure of it. So there you go. Again, if you've had this problem and you went to Gen Con this year and you had a miniature made of me, first of all, let me know if you got it. And number two, let me know if you had some difficulty. Maybe I can help you through this series. So, you know, just trying to pick out some of the detail here. And it's not the most detailed model, but his face is good enough where I think we can make something happen here. So, until next time, and for Dan and Kat, we're going to send it up top, and we're going to get on out of here. Boy, this is a Painting Impossible segment that is going to be remembered because you're going to learn about molds and how things work in the universe and how you have to get around it. But we really took our time. Our next move is take this file and just hit some of the high spots. We don't want to cut into the miniature and ruin the details. So I think we'll do that in our next episode. So until next time, let's head on top and get on out of here. There you have it. That's part one. Okay. So you see that we actually got the miniature separated a bit. But there's a lot of cleanup. Mold lines shouldn't be that way. They shouldn't. They should have cleaned that up. There's not even a base for it, so we got to build a base for it. So there's a lot of things that we have to do to get this so we can send it back to Dan. Can it be done? Well, the plastic's kind of brittle. It's a little scary, and I don't want to ruin this miniature on him. But we're going to do our best, and we're going to do it all the way through. So I hope you'll join us next week when you actually see how we clean everything up. We get Kat going and get her all squared away, and then we get those guys painted and shipped back to our pal in Arizona. So until the next Painting Impossible, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon.